Okay, welcome to part 3 of session 2 of starting Mr. Smoke under saddle. What we're doing right now is I'm in the process. I worked with him with fly spray and picking up his feet, both introductions. Those will both get further reinforced in following sessions. And I'm working on our relationship right now. He just explained to me, I don't think our relationship has solidified yet. I think I still have a chance of coming out on top. Horses compete when they meet a new individual for their relative rankings. Once those rankings are determined, they don't compete. He's still competing for his position vis-a-vis our relationship. Who's number 1 and who's number 2. So I'm giving him a moment here because he came to me. I want to offer a little bit of peace. I want him to want to be with me like this. And he's leaving. So it's time to go to work. That's my cue. So what I'm doing is I will be engaging in active and passive leadership to, of course, do the 3 things I talked about yesterday. That is, establish our relationship, establish a common language, and teach him to learn. You don't need to trot, honey. You want to, fine. But if he does trot, and you can see, well, you might not be able to tell, the center of the round pen's here. I am back off the center. And I didn't come into the center because he was already trotting. The closer you get to the horse, the more the pressure the horse feels. If they're trotting around you, back away from them. And of course, because you're going around in a circle, if I back up like this away from him as he goes around, I'm going to have to make this little circle on the inside of the round pen to keep that distance. But that's the most common problem I see is people go in the round pen and the horse is trotting or running around in circles over and over and over again. Well, interact with the horse, make them turn, get them to stop doing what they're doing, but get away from the horse. If they're continually going around in a circle, they have a ton of anxiety, and you need to increase the distance between the 2 of you. I always wanted to work my way back to the center of the round pen. That's a fly. So that's a good thing to note right there. If a fly lands on his ass, he's going to throw his ass up in the air. Now, you're on the first or second ride on your horse, and a big old horsefly lands on their butt. Expect that to happen, unless you've done something to desensitize them, and generally you can't. But the first time when you're on their back and they do that, it might actually trigger more than just getting the fly off. So one of the things I do is I would pick up one rein, I would disengage my horse, and I'm going to want to reach back there and pet my horse's rump. I want to do a lot of rump petting while I'm in the saddle, eventually a little smacking so that when a fly does land, anytime he's going to offer that. Now I might have to close that up once I put a saddle on because I definitely don't want him getting in there with my saddle on. So you want to help your horse out, and you don't want to have his first fly biting under saddle to occur in an explosive bucking session. So set him up for success before that, and you're going to see when I start standing on a mounting block next to him, I'm going to do a lot of petting of his butt. Okay, good. No. Right there he looked at me and he asked, "Can I come in? Can we quit this, please?" The answer is no. Not yet, but he dropped his head. He's licking and chewing. So he is thinking about yielding to me. in the number 2 position. Good job. Good. Okay, so I'm going to ask him in just a little second here, once he gets past this trailer. I'm going to ask him to stop and turn and face. And he actually had this idea himself, curiously, while I was forming the idea in my head, that I want him to come to me and stop, because this is the behavior I need for tacking him. I want him to stand next to me and feel good about me doing things to his body voluntarily, without any anxiety. Now what I'm going to do is a tiny little interview with my lariat to see how he's going to feel about being touched all over with the lariat. Okay, lots of licking and chewing here. Okay, so there's another example of he felt like he needed to move. I didn't. My lariat stayed where it was until he stopped. Remove the lariat. Bring the lariat back up. Touch him all over. And I know he's got a little sensitivity up there around his ears, so I'm going to end up leaving this lariat up there on his head and walking away. That's just a technique I use when I see a little bit of head shyness going on up there. Okay, so this is pretty darn good. Okay, so I'm going to quit for a second, go underneath, switch sides, turn my back on him in case that caused anxiety. I want that anxiety to subside and for him to know, okay, this is just a short-term thing. I got to wait for it and it'll be over. Good. Good. Yep, and now I got a really big green head buzzing around him, but it's not staying anywhere because he is fly sprayed. But those guys don't care about regular fly spray. Guess I need to throw some DEET on him. You get that guy. So he's investigating the tack hanging over there again. I like that. He's curious, not fearful. I'm looking him in the eye because I'm going to get out in front of him. I want him to do this again. If you can't call your horse into you, what happens when you put the saddle on and it's not even fastened all the way and he walks away from you? You need to be able to call him back in. Good job. Good job. So I'm going to go ahead and use the lariat on this side. Touch him all over, see how he feels about it. Now when I put this on his ears, I'm going to leave it there, walk away, and I want, when he stops, I'm going to approach him and take it off if he starts walking. I don't know what he'll do. Every horse is different. This feels pretty good to me. I like this. So here goes rope on his head. I'm going to walk away, see what he does. This gives me an idea how he might feel about a bridle up there around his head and ears. He's trying to lose it, which is fine. See if he comes to me for help. No, the opposite. So right about now, since he started to walk and he stopped, I'm going to remove it when he is not moving. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. I'm going to wait for it. Right there is a perfect time. Good. I'm sorry about that. I know that was obnoxious as all hell. But I'm interviewing you. I need to know how you feel about things. There's a huge yawn and licking and chewing. A shaking of the head is a mini lick and chew. A yawn is a super lick and chew on steroids. So that whole lariat on his over his ears on his head thing caused him most anxiety I've seen from him so far. Everything else has been a lick and chew or head shake. Okay, so I'm done with the lariat. Now he's ready to do what's being called sacked out, which is generally with a saddle pad or horse blanket, kind of slapped around on his body a lot so he can get all of his hair neurons oversaturated and fired, and let him get used to all that stimulation on his body. Don't forget, every hair on his body has a neuron associated with it, and he feels it. A lot of a lot of yawning going on right there. If he comes with me, that's great. If he doesn't, that's okay too. I love that he wants to be with me. Now, if he was worried about this, I might fold this up a lot and make it smaller. My impression of him is, I've been told he's been tacked 3 times-ish. So, he may have been sacked out fairly well already. I mean, some people tie up their horse and tack them up for the first time. And the horse might be all afraid of all that stuff. This is a cool customer. Nothing like a quarter horse, right? A good quarter horse. Yep. Well-bred, well-handled, good old quarter horse. Good students, good mounts. I mean, might not be the best jumper in the world. Maybe you want something like a thoroughbred for that. It just depends on what you want to do. Okay, this is pretty darn good. Now, my saddle weighs about 55 pounds-ish. So to get my saddle on a horse, I throw it at their back. Throw it up that direction, let it land on their back. I cushion the fall with my hand so it doesn't go too kerplunk. But I throw it at the horse. That's the way to get her done. So, before I'm done with this blanket, I got to be throwing this blanket at him fast and having it smack him with a little bit of force. Again, like I said, I'm firing all these hairs, the neurons on these hairs. But I got to get him ready for me to throw that saddle on him, because when I do for the first time, I don't want him to feel any different than he does right now. Now, he's got his head up. He's not all relaxed. So I'm going to leave the blanket up there, let him look at it, and let him drop his head down like this and offer peace. And there's a yawn. So he's being stoic. He just told me what you just did caused me a lot of anxiety. But when I was doing it, he wasn't moving and he wasn't showing me any of that anxiety. You got to file that away, because most horses are stoic. If you're a prey animal, you certainly don't want to show a predator that might be watching the herd who the weakest one in the herd is. So if you got anything wrong with you or you're got any worries, you don't want to show those on the outside. So he just went through another big yawning session right there. And it's why I quit. You don't know these things unless you quit. Do less faster and longer. And there's another big yawn. There's another big yawn. Think of it as poison in their body, and when they yawn, they're just dumping all that poison out of their body. Anxiety is poison. So much poison that I guess I should go eat. Come on. Come on back. If he's not going to come back, I'm going to drive him. Not that way. Not that way. There you go. I'm going to offer for him to come in, and if he doesn't, he's going to go left and right, turn a couple times, and here I'm just going to offer him to come in again. Good. And I want him to enjoy his stroll in and having time with me, so I gotta offer him peace when he gets here as his reward. The peace is positive reinforcement. The pressure is negative reinforcement. So basically, most of the time I'm working with him, when he does the thing I want him to do, I'm adding a positive, which is the peace. And I'm also using pressure as a stressor, motivator for the negative reinforcement, which I can remove. But I'm doing more than just removing the pressure. I'm also adding peace. So anyhow, okay, so I've expanded this blanket, made it bigger since he's doing so good, so fast. Make it harder when it's bigger. I want to do both sides. I'm going to get faster. My throws are going to put more energy into my throws. Going to put a lot of energy on that rear end right here like this to make sure that he doesn't feel the need to defend himself with his rear end. Because you come off a horse bucking that you didn't desensitize the rear end enough, and if you come off the back of that horse before you hit the ground, there's a good chance you're going to get double tapped in the air with both hind end feet. And if they got steel on them, there's a good chance when you hit the ground after that double tap that you're not moving right away. And you might even have some parts of your body that aren't working right anymore. So make sure you get this back in where you're pretty happy with it. And now you can see I'm throwing pretty aggressively. And my saddle, I actually twist back like this with the saddle so I can throw it up with my hip. So I want to do the same thing here. Simulate that movement. He's pooping. I'm actually going to take a look at that poop and look to see if I can see any eggs or worms. I mentioned earlier I didn't like the shape of his abdomen. Although his hair coat, condition of his coat is nice and shiny and looks pretty darn good. Usually a rough coat is associated with poor nutrition caused by worms. Okay, so this is pretty darn good. I think he's ready for saddle pad and probably the saddle. So I'm going to come back here, show him I trust him to not kick me. But I'm guarding with this hand just in case. And he's going, I don't like you standing back there. That's bugging me. So he walks off. That's okay. Oats. I'm not feeding him oats. Pretty sure that's an oat. You still have oats in you from before you came to me? Yeah, that's not a worm. Huh. Today is Monday. You came on Saturday. And you have undigested oats still in your system. Interesting. Well, I guess Tom feeds his horses oats. Or at least something that has oats in it. Some sort of feed. Everything else looks pretty good. I don't see any real problems. Okay. Good job. Okay, we can put this blanket away. Good. Thank you. Very much appreciate you coming with me. And we switch from blanket to saddle pad. And since he's investigating, I want to show him stuff out of respect for him. I just want to show him things I'm going to do to him. No sense in surprising somebody you don't know all that well and inducing anxiety. Nope. Show it to him. It's respectful. Oops, I forgot to do something I usually do with the blanket. I usually leave it wrapped one time over their eyes, over their head. Most of the things I do have some very good rational, logical reasons for doing them. Occasionally there's some things I do because of feelings, which means my gut tells me I should do it, and I can't exactly explain the gut feelings. And the blanket over the head is one of those. It's kind of a little mini trust exercise, see what they're going to do. Also, I want to talk to them, and when they stop, I want to pull it off of their head. So generally what I do is just this right here. I want to bring it right up. Also, he's a little ear shy, so I'm going to stimulate the back of his ears a little bit and let him get used to that and say, no big deal, right? He goes, nope, no big deal. Okay, well, let's do this. See how he feels about that. I'm right here. Smoke. Smoke, I'm right here. Smoke. Good boy. Good boy. Okay, I'm right here. I'm right here. Good boy. Yes. We might get a yawn out of that. Definitely got a lick. A little short lick. Good boy. That's yours. So one of the things that some of the stuff I'm doing to him, it can kind of like damage our relationship a little bit. All that peace I'm giving him so he likes to be with me. Well, you start doing obnoxious things to a horse or anybody, and they're going to not like you so much. So I want to take a little few moments to let him adjust back to that. You did really good. I'm very proud of you right there. You did nothing. You asked a bunch of questions like, why did it get so dark? Why are you doing this to me? What's wrong with you? But you took it. You're okay. What you doing? You got a pad on you. Hey! Okay, so we're getting an idea of, that's just a pad. Now, I kind of like how he handled it coming off of him, but I can kind of see what he might be doing when we put a saddle on. It's going to cause a lot of anxiety. That's okay. And of course, what I don't like is he took off with my pad. And I don't think I could have called him back till he lost it, which means before I get the girth on my saddle, he might take off with the saddle. So I might have to do a little bit more work with this guy standing still with me. But I don't mind if he dumps my saddle once. So I'm going to go for it. I'm going to pick it up and see how he feels about it. Give him a chance. I'm going to go ahead and show it to him, let him look. He does not seem to care about this object I'm carrying. There he goes. What the heck is that? Yeah. And he's thinking about leaving, so he doesn't like its close proximity to him. I don't want him standing there when I throw the saddle on. I want him out here. I need to be able to get in next to him and put it on, so I don't want him next to the darn good. Well, jeez. Hi, mounting block. That happens to me every other day. I trip over my mounting block. I guess I could do something to prevent that, but I don't. Nope. Interesting. How did you move so smoothly? That rode up your neck and didn't even come off. Hey, you got a nice little jog. Come on. You're okay. Yeah, you got her done, didn't you? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm tired of carrying this thing for a second. Yep. Good. Good. This is where I'd like him to be and stand and stay while I put stuff on him. Although one of the things I've noted is when he gets that anxiety up going around there at the trot, he stops thinking about me, and me calling and talking to him doesn't do anything. So he might not be ready for this. And that's what he just told me. He goes, yeah, you're right, I'm not ready for that. And I was cutting corners. I thought he feels pretty good, so I thought, he's been tacked up before, he might not mind this. You're okay. Now, you don't want to repeat that too many times. A, not good for your saddle. B, you don't want him to learn, if I flee, A, it works. B, it loses the thing on my back. C, I should run from what I'm afraid of. Those are all not lessons I want to teach a horse. So, I have to go back in training because I didn't do a good enough job yet. How you doing? You okay? Okay. I hear you. Oh, come to think of it, I did not trot and canter him around at Liberty yet. Uh-huh. That's probably why what just happened happened. I almost threw my lariat at him because he was going to goof off, and I'm asking him to move. So I'm asking him to turn. Almost threw the lariat at him again because he is half with me and half not. And our relationship still isn't what I want it to be. I will note that he's a half brother of Bella, the same dad who left. And it took her more than one session for our relationship to solidify. Her most common thing she liked to do for her first 3 or 4 days was turn to me and go, "You ain't worthy." It's like, no. She was powerful, powerful mare, and a lot of heart. And it might be built into some of this bloodline, which if you got a cow horse, you want a cow horse to look at a cow and go, move. They have a lot of heart and think a lot of themselves? Hell yeah. Makes good cow horse. Actually makes a good champion, arena champion too, because if they go step in the arena and they look up at everybody and they go, "I'm here. You guys ready for this?" And then they show you everything they got. Sorry, nope. Trot. Okay, that is the dinkiest little jog in the world, and I'm loving it. One thing I'm going to tell Tom right now, Tom, you got some appendix in your line. I don't know whether it's mom or dad. I'd say it's mom because this guy has more appendix look to him than quarter horse. He's got some thoroughbred in this line. Yeah, I know how you feel. Not that. Not that. That. Yeah. Don't care. Don't care. Not that. Thank you. Not that. Not that. Not that. Let's try that again. Not that. That. So I'm deliberately raising his anxiety. Putting a saddle on is going to cause anxiety. I need to ask you to grab a hold of yourself when you have anxiety and perform anyhow. So we have to extend the envelope of his ability to be calm and relaxed even when he's going faster. Yep. Not that. Not that. So he's struggling with decision making when his anxiety goes up. And our relationship still isn't, clearly. what I want it to be, that's okay. So I'm going to give him a moment, and me a moment. I want to see if he licks and chews. And I want him to learn a little something from what we just did, because he's coming to me. I'm going to go into peace mode. There's a lick and chew. Boy, he swallowed the end of that. Nope, there's another one. There it goes. But, I ended that. I kept correcting him until I got what I needed, which is a nice turn away. And then I quit. All that stuff in between didn't do him any good at all. I'm ignoring it, except providing him feedback that says, I want you to do this, and you didn't do this. So I just stay with him until I get what I asked for. And then I want to quit and let him go. So all that other stuff was a waste of my energy, wasn't it? Yep. He needs to learn that. He needs the time to digest that experience. And I would say he's no longer thinking about me. So it's time to press on. We'll go back to the walk. He's investigating stuff, which is all good. He wants to come in. I'm going to tell him no and turn. I want to go back to his calm, relaxed self, performing in a relaxed way. See if I can get this good turn to the left, which is still hard for him. He started to bring his head in, and he quit. That was the best turn to the left he's given me in a long while, so you can see what I'm doing. Anytime you're trying to teach your horse something or improve things, and anytime you think in your head or you say that's the best you've done that, quit. Right there. Quit. Doesn't mean you can't come back to it, but you want them to learn. No. Sorry. Not only that, but turn and go the other way. Thank you. I want to get a saddle on you, then we can quit after I get on and off a few times. Let's try this turn away again. Nope. Turn the wrong way. Yep. And I'm not going to keep repeating myself in these videos. I'm going to assume you're going to start at session 1 and just watch these in a row. So I was going to talk about regression again, but I've already discussed regression. There's no need to discuss it again, except to say, as you're teaching, there's going to be regression, which means the behavior deteriorates that you're trying to get, happens less frequently, and that's natural and normal part of learning, so it's okay. So there was a very, very, very good left turn. Because that's hard for him, I'm going to give him another little mini release here, just to tell him I appreciate that. So now I'm going to ask to see if he can do that at the trot. Sorry. Trot. 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 See how I can get this left turn, get my lariat ready, just in case. That was a good sequence. That was his best left turn at the trot. Good job. Good. You see, he's nice and calm and relaxed. Guess this is a good time to bring up long ago on land far, far away. I studied a lot of John Lyons, and he has some incredible publications out there. He prints things and tells you how to do things that is based on operant and classical conditioning completely, and has you repeat everything 1,000 times on each side. Anyone can have success or will have success if they follow his documents. I don't know if they're still in print. I don't know if you can find them, but it's good stuff. The only thing is it's boring as all hell because he'll give you a list of things. Do this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And if you do all those things, the final step is success. Now, somewhere in that down that list though is, okay, now you got it going, now do that 1,000 times on the left side. Okay, now get it working on the right side. Work it, do the same list of things till the right side's working, and then when it starts working, do it 1,000 times. It's like, well, as a professional trainer, I'm not going to do things 1,000 times on each side. I'd have to have your horse here for 3 months. Anyhow, the reason I brought it up is he gave a great list of ways to assess the quality of training. 3 rules that you can watch a trainer work, and if those rules are being violated, that's not good training. Reject the technique, the method, or the trainer. And his 3 things, the first one, a human nor a horse should get hurt, or it shouldn't be leading toward a horse or human being hurt. If it looks like it's heading that way, the trainer needs to stop immediately and reassess the situation. Okay, no humans or horses get hurt. That's the step 1. Wait a minute. That might be step 1 and step 2. Oh, yeah. Step 1 is humans don't get hurt. Step 2, horses don't get hurt. You know, if a human is getting bucked off a horse, you're watching a video and they get bucked off a horse, or the horse bucks, that's not good training. Human could get hurt there. You know, so humans don't get hurt. Horses don't get hurt. The horse is more calm and relaxed at the end of every training session than they were at the beginning, or at least as calm. If they start out the session as calm could be, they should finish the training session as calm could be. If they are ramped up and fired up, and you're saying the training is over, and they're sweating, and their anxiety is way up here, that's not, they're not learning anything except to be anxious in your presence. That's not good training, as opposed to this right here. Now, it doesn't mean in between they're not going to have anxiety, because if you're teaching them to deal with anxiety and teaching them to have less anxiety with more pressure and stuff, you have to induce the anxiety in order to teach them how to handle it. Okay, but the point is, horse should be more calm at the end of any training session than they were at the beginning. So those are the 3 criteria you can use. Humans don't get hurt, horses don't get hurt, and the horse is more calm at the end of every training session. So as you watch videos, you can use those to assess the quality of the work, whether you want to incorporate that or not. Okay, so I'm going to do some more trot, left and right, see if I can improve these turns. And I'm going to start calling him in. He's coming in on his own. He wants to come in anyhow. Trot! And then I got to see some canter work left and right. So if I want him to trot, I'm getting a little closer to him to induce a little more pressure. So that was his idea, to turn left right there. He's still testing me. To see what I'll do about his initiated behaviors. Okay, that was a mini test that he aborted it. There's a good, nope, that was not a good right lead. That was a counter canter. I'm going to have to watch this video back and see if there's something going on in his rear end. He is cantering on his left lead. I know he doesn't like to turn a given direction, nor he does not like going to this right. He should be stepping off his left rear to initiate a right lead canter. So he might have something stuck in his left rear. This movement does look a little funky. There's a good lead. It could be just a matter of being left-handed or right-handed and preferring one over the other, but it's pretty unusual that a horse is going to the right and steps into a left canter on their own. It's highly unusual, but that's okay. Again, these are things you file away, and at some point you do want to assess them and say, is this behavioral or is this physical? If it's physical, is it a physical problem or is it a physical dominance? A lesser range of motion on one side, the other, greater stiffness or something, things that you can actually do some physical therapy on your own with the horse and fix with stretching and certain exercises here without involving a professional, a health professional. Okay, good job. Okay, took that turn without any arguments at all. So I'm going to look at his tracking. I've been watching it, and I think it's pretty good. Although he's a little, kind of short strides a little bit. His back hoof should, in perfect tracking, should step exactly in the hole of where his front foot was. And you want, since he's turning in a round pen, you need to go both directions. I was looking at it going the other direction. It looked pretty darn good, and this is looking pretty good. And when he starts to trot, that changes everything naturally. But at the walk, perfect tracking. Okay, so here I'm going to ask him to come into me by dropping my hands, looking at his nose, and stepping back. Hey! There you go. He doesn't want to come in. He feels like I'm getting a little pushy, and I am, so that's okay. It's a good left turn right there. Let's see the left lead. That was easy for him to pick up. It's a very nice left lead. It's a rocking horse lead. One going the other way didn't look as smooth or as nice. So, I mean, he could have like left SI or SOS. Could be a little stuck or limited range of motion or who knows what. Might need to be loosened up and freed up so he can use that left hind a little better. Good. Good. I'm going to give him a moment here. I'm going to try the saddle again because he's looking pretty good. When I use my active leadership and ask him for turns, he's getting less and less no about it. He still is originating some thoughts. That's okay too. And he just walked away. But I can try putting the saddle on. And if he still moves off, I'll do this some more. I guess part of my philosophy is do the least the horse says you have to do for it to learn what you want it to learn. You don't need to work for weeks, hours and hours, and drill the same thing. It's like, Smoke, what's 2 plus 2? 4. Oh, Smoke, what's 2 plus 2? 4. What's 2 plus 2? 4. What's 2 plus 2? 4. What's 3? Pretty soon they're going to go, if you don't stop asking that question, I will hurt you. So my approach is basically I look at the number 3 with horses. 3 repetitions with horses in a row usually means I'm in phase 1, I got it. And for most skills, I just need to see phase 1 for learning and then press on, and I will be repeating those things to help them progress through to phase 2, 3, 4, and 5 of learning. So I do that which is necessary for the horse to learn the skill, and then I check them every once in a while and go, have you learned it good enough? No? Okay, well then we'll work it some more. Now, part of me wants to leave him alone, even though this is not a trailer loading exercise. It's shady in there, there's no flies, it's probably cooler in there than it is out here. And if he decides to step in that trailer to get out of this here hot pressure environment, I'm not trying to have too much pressure anyhow, but still, I'm going to let that happen. Heck, if I was smart, I'd walk up there and add a little pressure from behind him and see if he'll step in. He's picking up that right front foot. Oh, I guess I better check my camera record time too. Longer than 60 minutes. That's too much for anybody to sit through and watch a given episode, right? So while he's doing that, I'll go check the camera. Yep, 55 minutes.